Welcome to Portsmouth Gosport History Group and a live stream, a Sunday live stream. What am I talking about? Well, here we are again. This evening we got at least one special guest that's going to come in and chat to us in a few minutes. So without further ado, just housekeeping notes. If you want to come and join us and get involved, there'll be that's how you can do it. So you can volunteer to be part of the organisation. You can volunteer to become part of one of the events. You can volunteer to be a researcher. You can volunteer to do anything to help us that you like. And if you want to do that, just use the email address there, which is get involved, what do they call it? Little line involved@mail.com. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our first guest. So Michael Byrne, you're in the room. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Tim. Good evening, everybody. At least I hope there's everybody out there.
Well, we've got a few people watching already, so...
Good. Well, my name is, as Tim said, Michael Byrne. I'm a Vice President of the Military Vehicle Trust, a group founded back in 1969, then became a registered charity in 1987. Just briefly, our aims and objectives are to promote the recovery, restoration and preservation of all types of military vehicles, to encourage its members by providing a communications network between enthusiasts at home and overseas. And we promote, sustain and increase individual and collective knowledge and understanding of the vehicles and artefacts in our care, and advance public knowledge and understanding of the role they played in our local and national military heritage. And included in that, we have reenactments. We supply vehicles, people supply vehicles for films and so on. Many are found in hedgerow condition and restored to full running condition. Very briefly, that's us. Main reason for me being here this evening is that in conjunction with my friend John Leet, I've been asked to arrange and run a convoy of preserved military vehicles from Southwark House near Fareham to the Milestones Museum at Basingstoke. This event is based on a highly successful trip we did of a similar nature in 2019 to commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day. We ran the convoy from Southwark again all the way up to Greenham Common to sort of really commemorate General Eisenhower's trip on the 5th of June 1944, when he went up to speak to the air parachute troops to encourage them and wish them well in their very perilous landings in northern France on the 6th of June. That was an extremely well-received event, and we think ran extremely well. This year, the convoy is only going as far as Milestones. We decided that that was quite far enough, 70-odd, mostly 70-year-old vehicles. Not to mention some of the drivers, for that matter. Currently, we've got entered for the convoy 54 vehicles. We're going to limit to, I think, 60. So if there's anybody out there with 6 more vehicles, let me know. They're mostly Jeeps for obvious reasons. They're small, easy to maintain, easy to run, maintain, etc. Most of the vehicles we got are World War II, but there are several post-war vehicles. We haven't limited it to wartime vehicles because the event is being run in conjunction with the Royal British Legion in memory of those who have given their lives in any conflict, not just the First and Second World War, but anything since. And it is, as we said, to coincide with Armed Forces Day on the 25th of June.
Is it going to be part of the Falklands 40 as well?
Not directly, no. We perhaps could have latched onto that one, but obviously Falklands will be being commemorated as well. We've actually invited veterans to come and join us. They will be transported in a vintage coach, and I believe that several of those will be Falklands veterans or families of Falklands veterans.
So will you encourage any Falklands type era vehicles to take part, or?
Oh, don't doubt, yes. I mean, there will be. I mean, there's some Land Rovers. There's nothing much bigger than Land Rovers, but yes, Falklands era vehicles are more than welcome.
So how can they get in touch with you if they want to get on board at this stage?
The easiest way to be to contact me by my email address, which I can give to you now if that's easiest, or if you have it, can you circulate that to people? What would you suggest?
Let me have a quick look. What I can do is, if you give us half a second.
Yeah.
What is it, Michael?
It's Michael.S for Sierra .Burn, B-U-R-N-E.
Hang on, Michael.Burn.
Michael.S .Burn.
Yeah.
At gmail.com.
There you go.
That is correct. That is correct. Yes. Anybody interested in joining in, please contact me and I will get back to you.
Brilliant.
Right. Well, yes, the route the convoy will be taking is from obviously Southwick House near Fareham out towards Wickham, where there will be a saluting base. Not sure who's taking the salute as we come past there yet. I understand that the vicar has arranged for the church bells to be rung. We turn right onto the let me get this right, 32, running up past West Mearn, where I understand the mayor of Petersfield will be coming to take, well, it's not Petersfield, it's the mayor of East Hampshire District Council, I presume, will be coming to take another salute. Continuing on gently up the A32, bearing in mind that the lead vehicle will be doing about 20 miles an hour, which means the guy at the back is probably doing about 40, 45. It sounds strange, but it sort of works like an elastic band.
It does tend to concertina.
And it zips to try and keep up. Anyway, yes, past Westmere and then in through Alton, where we're passing the fire station, who are going to salute us as we go by. I understand that's another saluting point there. We then go on and pause briefly at Lasham Airfield for a comfort stop, which will probably be needed by then. And then on up from there to Milestones Museum at Basingstoke. Total distance of about 37 miles. Doesn't sound very far, but we reckon we will leave Southwick at 10 a.m. and we should arrive at Milestones at 12 noon.
Mm-hmm. And what about the return trip?
When we've arrived at Milestones Museum, there is an event being organised with a marching pipe band, the Odium Military Wives Choir, various sideshows. Vehicles will all be parked up on display. That runs from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, at which time people are free to disperse and make their own way home.
Mm-hmm.
They wish to go a bit earlier than that. Coming from some distance away, some people, I'm ashamed to say I can't remember exactly what distances are involved. It's on my spreadsheet, which is elsewhere on the computer. And there will be plans to have a wreath laying ceremony in the Milestones Museum.
Excellent. So, do you have a wrecker team following in case of breakdowns?
We have a volunteer group with a support rescue van, which will be following behind it if necessary. Other than that, the whole event is being escorted by motorcyclists from the Royal British Legion Riders Branch, who will lead the convoy, control traffic, and there will be 2 or 3 of those set aside to go and, if a vehicle breaks down, find out what can be done and arrange for recovery if necessary. But we will do our best to mutually help one another. Rule of driving in a convoy is keep an eye on the vehicle behind you.
Yes.
Keep him in sight. If he breaks down, don't necessarily stop, but slow right down so that people further up can see what's going on and wait for assistance, which in the past works well.
Yeah, so military convoys normally go with some sort of precision, but they do tend to fall down if people aren't paying attention.
Absolutely,
having
right.
been in many convoys in myself over the years. You're right in what you say. The one in front's doing about 20 miles an hour. The one at the back's doing about 60 miles an hour because it concertinas all the way down the road.
Absolutely right.
Because people sort of ease off and take in the view and start chatting and
be waving at the spectators watching us go by. And there are several places en route where people can watch. I mean, there's Westmeath is one example. Wickham, mentioned before, going through places like sort of Farringdon just before you get up to the A31, and going through Alton.
So, you're going on the A32. So you're going to pass Loomis.
Loomis reminds me.
That's the junction with the 272. There's a big calf there.
Yes, the calf. Yes, of course. Its name. Yes, I don't think we'll have time to stop, unfortunately. But yes, we'll be passing Loomis. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then you're going straight up from there, rather than
keep going straight up the A32 until we hit the A31. Turn right there briefly, and then left into Alton.
Aha. So you're going through the town of Alton then?
Yes, not right through the middle. We go in. I don't know how well you know Alton, but we go in and we pass under the railway bridge, past the green on the left-hand side, known as the Butts. Yeah. Short past there is the fire station on the right and the church, and we turn left just after the church and cut down that side street and then pick up the route to Lasham.
Happy days.
And I mean, you might think, gosh, how on earth is all this being supported, if that's the right word, being run by volunteers? Or what do I mean, idiot? My friend John Leet, who was really the leading light behind this, gentleman called Richie Cunningham from the Royal British Legion Riders Branch, where really sort of masterminding the whole thing, if you like. But we have managed to secure some excellent financial support. I can't say how much, but we have got some financial support from Southern Co-op. And the event is also being supported by the local Ford dealer, Think Ford. They're not putting in money as such, but they are providing an escort vehicle to lead the convoy in the form of a Ford Ranger vehicle, and helping us out, as I understand, with printing of road signs and so on. So our huge thanks to them, because without them, it wouldn't really be possible. It would be much more difficult, because there's a certain financial outlay, particularly for the event at milestones, where we need a marquee and first aid and so on.
What about refueling and stuff on the way?
We would encourage people to make sure their tanks are full and they've got a jerry can strapped to the back.
Down to the individual participants to salvage themselves.
It's a very good question when you consider that even a Jeep will only do about sort of 15 to 20 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
And some of the bigger vehicles will only do sort of 8 to 10 miles to the gallon. So with the current price of fuel, it's not very exciting. But there we go.
Yes. Well, if you've got any tanks going, they do about 4 miles to the gallon. 4 gallons to the mile.
I haven't got any tanks. The local councils don't like tanks running on the roads for some reason or other.
No, I can't understand why.
Something to putting up tarmac. I don't quite understand it, but yeah. So yeah, just reverting back briefly, I've talked about Jeeps briefly. Most people, when you talk about a Jeep, they think, "Oh yes, Willys." Well,
Yes.
actually, not all Jeeps were built by Willys. They won the initial contract from the American Army to build the light reconnaissance four-wheel drive vehicle, but couldn't produce them in quantity fast enough. So the contract was also sublet. I'm not quite sure quite what it was, to Ford. And
I think they license them out, don't they?
I think there's license back, yes. And there also will be on the convoy, although it's pretty difficult to tell them apart, Jeeps made by the French company Hotchkiss, which had a license to build them after the war. And they look identical. In fact, very often they're made to look like wartime Jeeps, but we won't go into that discussion now. What else can I tell you?
So you've got quite a range, and I suppose you could have a little competition there to see if you can identify which particular models, whether they're the Willys, the Ford, or the Hotchkiss.
Yes, you could do that. Yes, to tell the difference between a Willys and a Ford is relatively easily. All you have to do is look at the front chassis member. On a Willys Jeep, it's tubular, and on a Ford, it's a molded steel sort of square. For
Railway track.
Yeah, square.
They cut up a load of railway tracks to make out front suspension.
The Hotchkiss looks very much like a Willys with the curved front chassis member, but there are subtle differences in the bodywork which give them away.
And what about the engines on these things? Are they all the standard engine, or?
Mostly, yes. The Hotchkiss engine is very often 24 volt rather than 12 or 6 volt, but same sort of capacity. You're going to ask me what the capacity of a Jeep engine is now, and I'm ashamed to say I've forgotten.
About 2.2 litre, aren't they?
2 litre, I think you're right. Yes. And in addition, we've got some smaller cars. I know there's this one chap bringing a Austin 7 done up as home guard vehicle. Somebody bringing a standard Tilly utility truck. What else? Anything bigger? Biggest I think I've got coming is a Bedford QL 3-tonner.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I can tell you a little story about the old QL.
Yeah.
When I was a lad, I worked on a farm, and during the summer, he had 3 of these old ex-military Bedford QLs, and us lads would drive into the field alongside the combine to get the grain off the combine to take it back to the sheds for drying.
Yeah.
And so the age of about, I think I must have been about 13. I'm driving one of these old Bedford QLs, no power steering or anything like that, across the fields.
Crash gearbox, yeah, yes.
Yeah, big old crash. Chunk in.
Great when you get it right. When you get it wrong, it hurts.
It sings if you get it wrong.
Yeah,
it tells everybody if you get it wrong. But we got fairly proficient, Adam.
Yeah. I think
we've just got a question coming in. So from Nick West, from the Pompey Pals, happy to be involved with this project.
Brilliant. Well, let me know how we can get you involved. That'd be good.
Well, Nick, if you want to,
sorry, I think Pompey Pals are already involved. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm confused here. Yes.
Oh, they're happy to be involved. Yes.
Yes,
thanks,
good.
Nick. So anybody that has a question, if you'd like to pop it into the chat box, just like Nick did.
We'll see what we can do.
See if we can come up with the answer. If we can't come up with the answer, we'll go away and we'll find out, and we may come back and tell you.
Absolutely. See the sort of comment there from William Donaldson. How can you get involved? Well, contact my email, which is on the screen.
There you go. That's how to get involved. So, William, if you would like to give Michael an email, it's michael.s.burn@gmail.com, and
I'll be delighted to see what I can do.
Yeah. So you obviously need people to help push these things to get them started.
When we're having a VIP to wave off the convoy from Southwark House, I'm afraid I can't actually say who it is at the moment, but it could be somebody fairly high-ranking in the county.
Oh,
which is wonderful.
Here we got. Good evening, Lana. How are you doing?
Oh, I see John Lee is listening to me. That's a bit embarrassing.
Oh. Evening, John. So, have you got anything to add, John?
We're typing furiously, if I may.
Excellent. So, Lana's come back with another group week. Ah.
What? Quite no sure
what do you mean by a group week, Lana? So, this is all clever.
I don't know what.
Oh, there you go.
John, all at work, but good to hear. Well, I hope I haven't said anything I shouldn't or left out something I should have put in. But no doubt you will tell me later.
Excellent. So, how are we doing? We're doing all right for time at the moment.
5 minutes or so, yeah.
Yeah. So, have you got any more to put in to the?
Let me just have a quick. We have support from all kinds of people for this this event. Hampshire Police are on board because we have to notify them because of traffic and so on. They raised no objection. BBC South. What else have we got? Tyndall News Group newspapers, Farnham Herald, Alton Herald, and so on. They're involved. What else? Raynet, the mobile radio communications people, they're involved as a link in case anything goes wrong. They can communicate direct to Hampshire Constabulary, Hampshire Police, call up any emergency that's required.
Would that be on each vehicle, or is that sort of the lead vehicle and the tail end Charlie?
Sorry, say again.
Would that be the lead vehicle and the tail end Charlie, or all vehicles have contact?
Raynet will be in their own vehicle, or several vehicles, I think, stationed at various points along the route, as I understand it.
Advertise the communities turning out. Aha, we mentioned that earlier. So
yes, I mentioned that.
What other sponsors do you have?
I've said we've got Southern Co-op and Think Forward. They're the main two sponsors, which I'd already mentioned. And John tells me 2 or 3 vehicles from Raynet. I see a note just flashed up here.
Yeah,
he's keeping me on the ball, isn't he?
Are any vehicles going to be involved in the History Week? We have a History Week 1st to the 7th of August.
At whereabouts is that, Tim?
Well, that's Portsmouth and Gosport. So we've got several events going across.
I haven't heard that any of our chaps are involved in that, but given details, I can pass those on to our more local area secretary, and he can contact you. So if you could sort of let me know that later, Tim, I can pass it on.
Yeah, I think William will be in touch with you on that one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whoever.
To the fact that he asked the question.
Yeah, we're only too pleased to provide vehicles as and when we can, and we're not rushing off shows all over the country elsewhere.
What's James come up with?
Need to get a big Union flag.
Ah,
I've got one.
You've got one.
I'm surprised you haven't got one.
Well, I've got several actually.
So high, but no. Yeah. Yeah. What else can I tell you? We've actually did the event at Milestones has actually been approved by MOD as an official Armed Forces Day event.
Oh, brilliant!
That's another source of potential financial support. Although that comes about after the event.
Yes, they normally cough up once you've done it. They don't like to give anything in the in the lead up to it all.
No.
And of course, there'll be military personnel that will be spammed to help out on the day.
Yeah,
so regular soldiers don't like the Armed Forces Day because it makes working on a weekend.
That's very true. We're getting support from RAF cadets and the local club in Basingstoke and others. So that's very useful.
Yeah, so the cadet organisations are brilliant for that sort of thing.
Yeah, particularly, to be honest, particularly RAF, I found seemed to be more so than Army and Navy. For some reason, I don't know why.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Michael, I think that has been a brilliant little chat, and thank you so much for coming and telling us all about this little soiree up the A32.
Yeah, well, I hope some of your chaps can turn out and come and watch us or see us off at Southwick or whatever. It'd be delighted to see you all.
I think some of them are actually trying to join in with the whole event dressed up in their imperial costume.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah. As long as it's not. No, I won't make any political comments.
Right. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody. Nice to have heard from you all, and I hope it was useful.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Right, that's Michael out of the way. So we've got a new guest coming on shortly. The new guest, hang on, is Pip from the Organ Project. So, Pip, I'm bringing you in the room.
Hi.
Good evening, Pip. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. So, what can you tell us about the Organ Project?
The Organ Project, it's based at St Mary's Church, which is the big church on Fratton Road, so it's not difficult to miss. And so what it's aiming to do is to save the organ, which is situated in St Mary's Church, and to help restore it to how it was when it was originally built in 1889. So it's about taking that organ, restoring it to how it was, and bringing back its Victorian characteristics, as well as also sharing that heritage with the rest of the community around us, and engaging with our local community to share the church and the organ's history with everyone else.
Brilliant. So where are we getting the funding for this heritage?
So a lot of it's from the National Lotteries Heritage Fund, which provides funds to lots of different projects throughout the UK. Mm-hmm. And then we're also partly doing fundraising within the parish and within the wider community to help raise funds for that as well. So it's a combination of the two, which are coming together to help restore the organ.
Brilliant. And what's the size of this organ? Is it? I mean, is it
massive.
One of these small little ones that you got?
No. You go into the church and it's one of the first things you see on the left. It's huge. I think it's I can't get the exact size up right now, but safe to say it's 2 or 3 of me, and I'm a fairly tall person. 2 or 3 of me on top of each other, in terms of height wise.
So it's about 3 or 4 meters high, is it?
Yeah, something like that. It's impressive just to look at, let alone try to restore. And yeah, so it's huge.
I imagine it's going to cost a couple of quid to put that right.
Yeah. But we're working with local contractors and an organ company called Nicholson's and Co. And so we're working together to help restore it. And it's sent off to their workshop towards the north, and then it's brought back here once it's been restored. And it's currently in the process of being put back up now.
Oh, right. So the project's almost finished then, is it? Still got a ways to go.
In terms of restoration, it's getting towards the end. But then in terms of the community activities planned to go along with it, it's still got a bit of a way to go. Because when COVID hit, we actually reorganized what we were planning to do. So the builders came in and took it out towards the end of the first lockdown. And then, so that managed to reprioritize things. So now we're getting it done a lot earlier than we wanted it, or we expected it to, which is great because now the church has a fully functioning organ again. But we're still going to carry on continuing to share the heritage of the organ with the rest of the community.
Yeah. Who built the organ in the first place? Is it like a Wurlitzer, or is there another make that?
Originally, it was designed by the church architect Arthur Blomfield, and then it was helped installed by a company called J.W. Walker and Sons, who helped kind of put it in and make sure it was all according to Blomfield's designs. So it was a team effort between the organ company and then also the members of the parish who helped bring it to fruition.
All right. And how old is it?
So it was originally constructed in 1889. So it's late Victorian era sort of organ.
And then, so it's what, 130 odd years old?
Basically that. And then it had worked on it in the 1960s and 1980s to help kind of make it slightly more modern. But with the restoration, we're hoping to bring it back towards the 1889 original design.
And would it have a distinctly different sound to what they did to it?
Yeah. So when it was overhauled in 1965 and 1981, there were various changes made, some by accident, some on purpose, which worsened the quality of the sound. And it's all very technical, and I'll be honest, I don't understand it completely as I'm mainly the press manager. But right now it's at 444 hertz, and the restoration is going to change it back to 448 hertz, which is, while it doesn't sound too different to the ear, if you're an instrument playing along, it affects the way you're playing with the organ. Yeah.
So do you get many people playing along with it then? Do you get an orchestra in occasionally, or?
So the church does do work with the Royal Marines, who occasionally might play with the organ. And then on Christmas Day, we have, brass bands coming in who, might want to play with the organ. So it's a occasional thing that happens to celebrate big events and stuff. So yeah.
So do you have a resident organ player, or do you have a group?
The church has two organists. There's the director of music, Brian Moles, and then there's the assistant director of music called Matt Dixon, and they both play the organ and help with the choir. And Matt Dixon's the one who's organizing and who's the project manager for the organ project. So they are both happy to have an organ which is back to their proper standards that they can play happily and enjoy. And then we've also got.
So I guess it must make a big difference when you have a wedding.
Yes, yeah. Right now we've got a temporary digital organ which plays through the church speakers that they can still play on. But it'll be much more impressive when the community can come around and see the actual organ and hear it being played. And it's very grandiose, and it makes a strong impact on visitors.
Yeah. And how are you actually engaging with the local community?
We have a variety of activities that we partake in. So there's, for example, So there's kind of lots of different categories. There's some where we're working with local schools, some we're working with local organizations. So in terms of local schools, we had a sea shanty workshop with a group called Folk Active, and they came into. Do you know Cottage Grove Primary School?
Not personally, no.
No, but that it's somewhere in Portsmouth, and
Yeah.
they went into that school and gave the kids lessons in sea shanties and the history of it, and so that was one way. Another way is Fratton Big Local, who help organise events along Fratton Road and the surrounding area. We work with them to bring forward events such as the Festival of Lights, and then in kind of the general ways that the church is opened, we're helping to support that as well, and providing more opportunities for people connected to the church, but then also wider, such as photography workshops. And we've had 3 or 4 of these workshops by this point, including nighttime workshops up the tower, 167 feet in the air. And so it's providing skills with the community, but also providing events and chances for the community to come together is the main thing.
I have a question from one of the audience here. From Lana. She says, is the organ project going to do some tours for History Week?
As far as I'm aware, I've not heard anything about it so far, but I'm sure it's something that we can have a look into and see if we can work together on it.
Excellent. So, what other questions have we got? What about if people want to get involved? Is there anything they can do to help?
So there's several ways you can get involved. We love to have volunteers. You know, you can do anything from looking into history or getting involved, helping organize the events and helping make sure everyone's happy there. So you can either go to our website, which is theorganproject.org, or you can email project@theorganproject.org. And we'd love to hear from you, basically, if you're interested in our project, if you want to help volunteer, if you want to join into any of our events, or if you have any information you think we might like in regards to the history of the organ project and the history surrounding it, we'd love to hear from you. Also, we have a campaign called Make a Joyful Noise, and we're inviting people from the community to help fundraise by sponsoring one of the pipes on the organ. And so there's something like 2,600 pipes, and you can sponsor one of them and have your name recorded in a digital book with it. And that's one of the ways of fundraising. So if you'd like to financially support us, that's one way.
How many?
2,622. It's a lot.
Are you sure that many?
I'm sure it's astonishing.
That is some organ.
Yeah, I told you it's huge, you know.
2,622 pipes to it.
Yeah,
that must be a huge range of sounds that you can make from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got something like 50 stops or so, which you kind of pull out and makes a completely different noise in terms of the wind being produced. Not all the pipes are kind of thrice my height. Some of them are, you know, this big or so.
Little ones.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of big pipes and then a bunch of small pipes as well, and it's a lot to keep track of.
I imagine the organ player, the organist must blow his mind when he's trying. I didn't mean that one. I meant that one.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I think a lot of
they've got feet ones as well.
Pardon?
Has it got the foot ones as well?
Oh yes, the foot keyboard and the hand keyboard. They're playing both at the same time, pulling out the different things on the side. It's
about 3 or 4 different keyboards.
Yeah. Your classic idea of an organist, exactly like that.
How does somebody learn to play something like that?
They must be more skilled than I am, because I took piano for 2 years and even that was too complicated for me. So, and I suppose we have scholar programs as well, and the church recently had 2 organ scholars join who are both under 18. So it's something we're trying to encourage as well in terms of learning how to play the organ and trying to develop that skill for future generations as well.
Yeah. So I guess they're a little bit different from the old music hall organs.
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, because it's that huge. I mean, there are a couple of there's some really big ones. Up in Blackpool, there's the big Wurlitzer
Right.
in the is it the Blackpool Tower that it is?
I think so. I might be wrong on that
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Has it been featured on The Organist Entertains?
I don't know the answer to that question. You stumped me there. I'll have
I
to.
can only apologise. Sorry.
No, don't worry. I'll have to correspond with our resident organists and see if they know the answer to that one.
Yeah, I think that programme's still going. The
Right.
Organist Entertains,
I'm
and they
pretty
play some
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
fantastic. Yeah.
I know the church was on Songs of Praise, and I imagine the organ was played at the same time there. So it's certainly
Yeah.
been on, the BBC.
So it'd be interesting to get it back on once it's been fully restored, once it's back up and running fully.
Yeah,
How
I'll
close
check
is it
now.
to being finished?
Pardon?
How close is it to being finished?
So we're having a dedication service to kind of celebrate the finishing of the restoration, which will be in July. So it might be finished slightly before then, but kind of mid-July is when we're celebrating the full restoration of the organ.
And you're going to plan a big event where people can fill the
Yep.
church to come and listen to it?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a ticketed event?
Yeah, yeah. And we're styling it as if it's similar to the original service, which was used to dedicate it in the first place. So it'll be similar to that service in terms of the structure and what's being said, but obviously we'll have different speakers and more up-to-date people getting involved as well.
Yes. And anybody from the original day?
I'd be very impressed if they survived this long, but they're more than welcome to come if they're out there.
And what about if people want to come along and dress in the period costume that of the 1880s?
I'm sure they'd be welcome to. I think we've
Is
also
that going to
got
be positively encouraged?
Well, you see, I have to be careful because if I say that, then they'll ask me to get dressed up as well, and I don't know if I can cope with that. So,
Well, what's wrong with a bit of dressing up?
yeah, I believe there's also around the same time there's going to be a Victorian tea dance sort of thing, where I'm sure that will also have lots of fancy dress and stuff like that to go with it.
Sounds like a really good event.
Yeah.
How can people get tickets?
I don't know if we've announced how to get tickets just yet, as it's still a bit far away. But if you either stay on touch on our social media, which is just the Organ Project on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or I'm sure we'll get it out so you know when it's on. But you can just keep in touch with us, and we'll make sure you have the link for the tickets when they're out.
Brilliant. I mean, we can at the Portsmouth Gosport History Group, we're quite happy to help publicise that.
We'll get in touch with you as well to help share it.
Yeah, and I think I've got any more questions. What other heritage have you considered?
So as well as the most obvious thing when you say, oh, we're restoring the organ and sharing its heritage is, you're just focusing on the organ's history, but there's also history around the church and around the organ itself, which links to other events. So on the organ, on the console screen below it, there's a plaque, which is dedicated to servicemen from the Boer War. So we've got volunteers looking into those people and looking into the events of the Boer War to try and find out more about it and the people who are involved on the organ screen. And we've also got in the churchyard, there's a memorial to. Do you know about the HMS Royal George?
I don't know.
So it's the worst maritime disaster to have happened in British waters, and there's a memorial to it in our churchyard. So we've had more volunteers looking into that as well. And 900 lives were lost overall, and this was in the 1780s.
Grief.
But yeah, so there's been research done into that as well, into kind of what happened, where did people go after, and so we're kind of looking to expand the heritage of the organ project, not just to the organ itself, but to
Mm.
the surrounding community and the community's history as well.
And what about the church itself? Is there any restoration going on with that? Is that being restored?
So
How's the upkeep of it been going?
there's a lot of maintenance. So the regular church maintenance you'd expect has been going on in the church. I think recently we had to have the flagpole repaired because it got struck by lightning. So it's
Okay. It's all right. Ship's cat.
oh right. So yeah, it's the regular maintenance you'd expect in a church, but there's the flagpole had to be repaired when it was hit by lightning.
Yeah.
Just the general upkeep you'd expect from any kind of historical building is being done on a church.
How much damage did the lightning do to the flagpole? Is this
Uh,
one right on the roof of the church?
Yeah, right
is
on.
it?
So the tower is something like 160 feet in the air, and so it was a great spot for lightning to hit. And then I think the flagpole had to be completely replaced in the end. But yeah, that was and because I live nearby, and the electricity nearby was shorted out a bit as well while the lightning hit the ground and hit the
Yeah.
systems nearby. But yeah.
Wasn't anything to do with Doc Brown, was it?
Well, we should have looked around to see if there were any DeLoreans nearby, but as far as we could see, it was all safe.
Stop the clock tower.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Sorry if I've missed it. But what is it? It's
So,
a church.
Yeah, so it's St. Mary's Church, which is on the corner of Fratton Road and St. Mary's Road. If you're coming into the city, you can actually see the church in the skyline. It's the kind of the big blocky tower with the points on the top. It's that church, and so yeah.
What else have we got going on there? Yes, so I've got several things going on here.
No worries.
Dun, 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 dun. No, you completed. Right. Sorry about this.
Don't worry.
I'm a little one-man band tonight, so I'm having to do all
You normally have 2 or 3 others with you, do you? Or
yes, I normally got William and James, but William's coming in at 8 o'clock, and James can't make it, unfortunately. But what am I doing? I've lost things. I've lost what I'm doing. So, yeah, there you go. That's how to get in touch. That's your email address there.
Yeah.
And then you've got all your social media as well.
Yeah, if you just search the Organ Project, you should be able to find us. We're not the Organ Project, which is donating biological organs to other people. That's not us. We're the other Organ Project to do with
the other
church
one.
organs. Yeah.
So, Pip, what else is going on around the church at the moment? So, are they still managing to do Sunday services?
Yeah. We kept up services during the pandemic. During lockdown, there were live stream services from the vicar's house, and then coming up right now, we've got Easter coming up in the church, so that's all hands on deck for that. And then after that, it's the May Fair, which is a huge event for the church, and so volunteers are being called in from all areas, trying to to man the decks and make sure we're ready for that. Really, those are the 2 big things going on right now.
Excellent. And then you got the big event with the reinstallation of the organ itself.
Yeah, and that should be exciting. We're hoping to get some special guests in, and we're hoping to make it a big deal to celebrate the organ's return.
Yeah, and is that your job to find the special guests?
I'll leave that to the project manager, but I'll make sure that everyone hears about it. That's my job.
Yes. So you've got a lot of media interest already.
Yeah, we have good relations with the Portsmouth News, and we've had articles, not articles. We've had conversations with BBC Radio Solent as well before about the Organ Project, and so we're hoping they'll be interested in as well. And yeah, we like to keep in touch with the community's local news sources as well.
Yeah. And what about local television? Are you getting those guys involved?
I probably should add it to my list of things to do, is to reach out to them as well. Yes, and
Yeah,
get them interested.
might be a good day to get a big load of press in,
Yeah.
TV cameras and everything.
Yeah.
For the actual day. I mean, if you get them on board early enough, they can make a whole sort of feature about it.
Yeah. Well, I
Looking
think
forward
the
to
vicar's
seeing.
done work with the local television before, I think, so he'll be one to reel them in, possibly.
Yeah. How long's the vicar been there?
It was his 20th anniversary last year, so it's quite long for a vicar to stay in one church like that. But yeah, he's been there for 20 years or so.
They're not going to move him on before he's finished, are they?
No.
That'd be ironic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just he's about to
week
retire.
before
They
he
send him off
hands
to
over.
Paris for a month. Yeah.
So the week before he gets to hand over and doesn't see it to the end. Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Pip.
Thank you for having me.
I've really enjoyed that. I think anybody out there that would like to get in touch with and help out with the project.
Yep, just if you're interested about anything, just kind of contact us and we can explain more about it. And it'd be good to come back here sometime, maybe, and talk a bit more, maybe close to the announcement.
I'm just about to bring in the chairman, so I think he wants to have a chat with you as well.
Okay, yeah.
So over to you, William.
Hi, William.
Hello, Pip. How have you been?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. And this project sounds very interesting.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
So how long has this project actually been going on? Because there's been a bit of confusion in the chat, and I can't actually see some of the other messages. So when did you start this project?
So about 2019 or so, it kind of was starting to be lifted off, and then restoration begun late 2020, and I think it's a 4-year project in total.
Blimey, yeah. And you've got funding from the National Lottery for all of that?
Yes, and the National Lottery Heritage Fund, they've put forward, I think it's 50%. It's a significant amount, and then we're helping fundraise for the second part of it as well.
That's fantastic, and to know that you're supported by the community. I mean, I was just listening, and I have been listening in the previous ones as well. It's fantastic to know that you're being supported by a load of organisations across the area, and I think it's about trying to restore our history. And it's so unique an organ, and I think that's what we've got to try and do, promote you guys, because I think sometimes that type of stuff can get forgotten. And it's all about raising the profile of our heritage, and that's a motto we use all the time, is to do just that. So I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I mean, really thank you and your team for coming on tonight. And hopefully we can host you again in the future.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having us, and yeah, we like yourselves, we're looking forward to kind of sharing history with the community, not just of the organ, but of the whole church and the whole community. And yeah, I hope we can work together in the future.
Definitely. Fantastic, Pip. Thank you ever so much for coming on.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Pip.
Well, what a fantastic load of guests we've had tonight.
So far, yeah, we've had two great guests. Hopefully, we can do the same in the future.
Definitely. Well, I think
get guests on, and away we go. We're all over it like a cheap trick then.
I think this is the new the new way we're doing it, isn't it, Tim? We've got 2 guests on the first hour, then we're chatting about history for the next.
Yeah. So how are you? How are we shaping up for the next hour?
I'm gonna have to get something together right now, only because I've been left in the limbo as James wasn't able to join tonight, as he's been very busy with the Falklands research. I will be giving an update about the Falklands and other areas of the group tonight. So it won't be necessarily focused on history articles, but I'm going to be talking a little bit about how we've progressed since last Sunday, what we've got planned for the upcoming weeks for the exhibition and things like that. So if you want to call quits for about 10 minutes, then I'll be back then.
Okie dokie. Are we going to get maybe Lana can join us?
Definitely. Well, leave that with me, and I'll join back in about 10 minutes. But advise all the guests that to come back soon.
Okie dokie. What I'll do is I'll put a video up and then I'll take a break. So where are we? Here we go. This is something that we're working on here. So let me just push this up. If you want to get involved in what we do, you want to come along to any of our organised events, it's all going to be up on the website very shortly. So email us at getinvolved.mail.com if you want to come along and help out with some of our events. We're looking for volunteers. We've got some really, really interesting events coming up this summer during History Week. I can't say too much about it. I'm under orders not to say too much about it. However, if you want to get in touch, there's our website, Portsmouth and Gosport History. Get onto there. Send us an email if you want to get involved. Well, there you go. That's how you get involved. So we just had a message come in from yes, Lana, our South Sea researcher. Excellent. So hopefully Lana is going to be joining us shortly. Oh, apparently we're not going to be doing South Sea today. I'm very upset. Mind you, if you have a chat with William, you might be able to get something together for the second half of the last hour. How's that, Lena? Right. Just going to take a couple of minutes break and then we'll be back for the second hour. Thanks for joining in. Welcome back to the Portsmouth Gosport History Group Sunday night live stream. Well, we've had a little bit of a drama going on. Unfortunately, the presentation that we had this evening, we can't have because it's crashed. So, unfortunately, got me again. So what I'm going to do is, I was out and about around Gosport the other day, and I'm working on a little project to do a podcast about Portsmouth and Gosport and what it has to offer. So to that end, I'm just going to run this little bit of a presentation past you. I'm going to talk through some of this stuff. So there you go. This is what we've got here. I was out and about doing this stuff. So I was up at the Explosive Museum. Now, a little bit about the Explosive Museum. We're holding our Falklands 40 exhibition at the Explosive Museum. They've kindly, the Portsmouth Naval Base Property Trust has given us some accommodation up at the museum to host this exhibition that we're going to put on. So let's just pop that up there. That's better. Now, as we go through this is the Explosive Museum. If you've never been to the Explosive Museum, it is actually worth a trip. Now, you can get this on the Dockyard ticket, and you can come across on one of the ferries. They run a ferry service during the summer months from the Dockyard across to the Explosive Museum. So, and on your Dockyard ticket, you've got the Explosive Museum, and it's full of fascinating stuff in there. It's all about things that go bang. The Royal Navy had a good thing about making things go bang. This is where they kept all the ammunition for all the warships. And they did this throughout sort of history. So, and they've only just closed it down a few years ago. Now they've moved it slightly up the river to the upper harbour ammunition facility, and they have barges bring it down. And I don't know whether if you look out into the dockyard, I don't know if I've got a picture of looking out into the dockyard. I'll come on to that in a minute. However, adjacent to the Explosive Museum is you've got the Powder Monkey. This used to be one of the old powder magazines, and these guys have turned it into a brewery. They give a tour around the brewery and show you how they make the beer, and it's all craft beers. And the guy that's in charge of it, he is a genius. He oversees the making of all this beer. There's only about 3 or 4 of them that work in this place, and it's only open in the afternoons. I think there's got some opening times that it's open, but it's open when the museum's open, basically. So when you've had a wander around the museum, you popped into the cafe, then you could pop into the Powder Monkey for a swift half before jumping on the boat back across to the dockyard. So the other thing about this is quite interesting. Just at the back of the Powder Monkey, or just off to the side of it, is the ramparts. And the ramparts we've got access to for the History Week. So during that week, the 1st to the 7th of August, we're able to take small guided tours around the ramparts where they kept all this ammunition and stuff. And this is a place that the general public don't generally have access to. So from that point of view, it's a great place to jump on board and see something that you don't normally get on your normal tickets. So keep your eyes peeled for when this gets released and the tickets become available. There'll be small groups that we're going to be taking around the ramparts and showing you that. And then once you've done that, maybe you can pop into the old powder monkey for a swift half before before leaving the site. So what else have we got on here? Oh, now I don't know whether you've been down to Gosport High Street recently, but they're starting to do a little bit of revamping work down there. It's a bit like all the old high streets. They have been dying because of supermarkets, basically, the likes of your Tesco's and your Morrisons and your Aldi's and all your out of town supermarkets have had an impact on the poor old high streets. But Gosport High Street now is one of those high streets that is full of history. You've only got to wander down Gosport High Street and open your peelers and have a look at the history that is down there. Yes, there's a few shops and that's shut, but there's some real nuggets of history that haven't been lost. So if you wander down there and have a look down on the ground. There's plaques down there that tells you about bits and pieces. There's Lloyd's Bank. Look at that, gorgeous old building. There's memorials down there. There's all sorts down Gosport High Street. It is worth just a wander down on a nice sunny day, take it all in. There's 2 or 3 pubs down there. There's a Weatherspoons down there. You can pop into any of the banks. There's about 4 or 5 different banks down there. So you can actually go into a bank and speak to somebody. You don't have to do it online. You can actually go into the bank and do it. At the moment, there's a Premier Inn down there. No, it's a travel lodge. I lie, like a cheap Japanese watch. There's a new travel lodge that's opened up down there. Had a little bit of an hard time during the pandemic, obviously, but it's now open. It's up and running. Get a nice bed and breakfast in there. So Gosport High Street is worth a look. It is steeped in history. There's loads of it. You've just got to open your eyes and have a butcher's. So here we go. Just down at Clayle Road, there's a Royal Naval Cemetery down there. Not a lot of people know this, but as far as I can work out, in that cemetery, there's a big plot dedicated to Turkish servicemen. And I think that is possibly, and the Turks that were in there, I think they were prisoners of war. And they were buried there when they died. Obviously died under our tenure. But that is why I think that they call Gosport Turktown. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody put something in the chat box. Hang on, I've missed the chat. There's some chat box going on here. What we missed? All right. Yeah, it's the Royal Naval Cemetery, and it's not just Royal Navy. Let me tell you a little bit about this. A friend of mine contacted me a little while ago and said that there's a mate of his that's in this cemetery. He died back in 1972, and he was a Royal Anglian. He was from the 1st Battalion, so he was a Viking, and his grave is in the naval plot. And if you have a look around the naval plot, there's quite a few army in there. So this guy, Ian, his name was Ian, I think it's Ian Curtis, as I remember right. His grave's in there, and my mate asked us if we'll keep an eye on it and just keep it tidy for him. So that's what we're doing. So, I've had a message coming here. What's this one say? Some places are the alleyways. Look at the brickworks. Now the buildings have grown up over the cemeteries. Yeah, no, the cemetery is kept pretty tidy. I must admit, if you go into the Clay Hall Royal Naval Cemetery, it is fairly tidy in there, I must admit. They do keep it fairly well. So I'm quite pleased at that. And say the Turkish cemetery, there's a big Turkish flag. You can't miss it. You have a wander in there, you cannot miss it. It's huge. Oh, somebody's come up and said, yes, that's the reason. That's the reason. I guess that's what you're saying, why it's called Turktown. Oh, intriguing project. Yeah, I know it's an intriguing project. I'm trying to sell Gosport and Portsmouth, obviously. So moving on. I mean, this is the view from just along from the church, the cemetery. There's a big church there. That's Alverstoke Church. It's a big one. I mean, people around here must have been giving God some chat with the size of the churches that we've got around. So that's the church, I think, down in Alverstoke Village. Oh, this is down at the Dive Museum. This is the Dive Museum, and that's the Bay Caff and Stokes Bay. So Stokes Bay, if you have a look down at this one down here in the bottom left-hand corner, that gate there, and there's a flagpole. If there's a red flag on there, that gate's shut and you can't go in. If the gate's open and there's no red flag, you can go in and walk along the beach, which is what used to be the ranges, or still is the ranges, because they've still got ranges in there that they use every so often. And so looking out across the bottom right picture is looking out across the Isle of Widget. So there's the CAF, and there's the Dive Museum, and this round building here are toilets. So if you get caught short, you can pop into the heads. Let's move on a little bit. Where are we? This is a little bit further down in Stokes Bay. There's a bit of a kids paddling pool there, and this is a lovely walk along here. You can walk all the way along. It's about a mile or so from the Bay House Caff along to Pebbles Caff, which is this one here. That's down in the left-hand corner, and this is the walk. And there's just beyond that is the lifeboat station. So this is a fabulous place just to go for a walk, and there's lots of stuff behind it as well. Look at all these open areas. Lovely bit of shade in these trees. Just over in the top, if you have a look in the top left hand, there's a barbecue area, and there's 2 or 3 of these barbecue areas set along behind, just behind the seafront there. So this is all to do with building up Portsmouth and Gosport as a great place to come and see. There's someone coming in. There's a little grave in one of the corners of a child who played rugby, and his grave looks across to the rugby grounds. Oh, that's nice. It's a great shame. It is a great shame. However, right, so let's move on a little bit. Then you go across to obviously go across to Portsmouth, and there's the old Gunwharf Quays. So if you've never been across and had a wander around Gunwharf Quays, it's quite fascinating. It isn't really. It's just full of sort of outlet shops and restaurants and stuff. However, one or two of the buildings in there are quite unique, because this area used to be, this is the customs house, which is a big pub now, but I guess at one stage it was a customs house. And this is a memorial to the diving branch of the Royal Navy. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, there's going to be a few tours around what used to be HMS Verdon, which is where this little memorial is. So I've got a guy on the hook that hopefully is going to do a couple of tours to show you around what was HMS Vernon and point out the different bits and pieces around there. But that's in the pipeline, and hopefully that'll come off. So if you want to go shopping, that's the place to go, I suppose. Or you can go up Gosport High Street. There's one or two nice eateries along there. And that's as far as I've got. Unfortunately, I've had to cut this particular presentation down because it went a little bit too big to bring into the system. But hopefully, let's just give you a little idea of what a bit of Portsmouth and Gosport has got to offer. Portsmouth and Gosport is steeped in history. There's so much history in and around Portsmouth and Gosport. It'd take you months to see it all. Absolute months. Now, lots of people don't have months to go around and do it, but we're doing our best to highlight it to you. This public library building, this is part of Leon Solon. It's the Lee Hub. They call that the Lee Hub. That is still being used as a library. It's a community library run by the community. So if you fancy popping in there, and once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, there's a veterans meeting. It's called Buns and Banter, and we're getting there, and there's a fair few veterans getting there. Old boys talking about taking the mickey out of each other, because there's a few Matlows in there. There's a few of us army boys in here as well. And there's a couple of crabs that turn up as well. They get some stick. So, there you have it. What we're going to do, let's see if is William going to come back in and give us an ad to tell us something. Are you there, William? Right. Go on then.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I enjoyed that little presentation. You didn't tell me anything about that. It's all keeping it all top secret, are we?
No. This is for my own podcast. This is. I've got.
Oh.
For people that don't know, I'm going to plug my own business here. So let's pull up a banner or two. I'm a podcast, what they call a podcast creator. And there we go. If you've never listened to a podcast or you never watched a YouTube video of a podcast, I interview people for history, basically their history. My podcast is all about ordinary people's extraordinary stories. And I start off with, I have a basic format that I speak to them about, ask them where and when they were born, and then I get them to describe what it was like where they grew up, the schools they went to, and the education they received.
See you later, James.
Oh, it's off.
Yeah, he's off.
Right. Okay. So that's how we start, and it's just a conversation. So I'm pulling details out, and then once we've gone through that a bit, we'll have a look at their work life and see what they did during their work life, and then we'll focus in on a specific area of their life that they want to talk about. And some of the people I've talked to are authors. Some people are musicians. Some people have done some special things that they want to have a chat about. And the whole idea of this is to leave a legacy for future generations. Now, the reason I got into it in the first place is that I was on the Ancestry, and I came across my great granddad, who was a chief stoker in the Royal Navy, and he lived just over in Portsmouth. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I'd have had a chat with him about his life in the Navy and one thing and another. Unfortunately, I haven't got a time machine, so I can't go back and do that. But I thought, hang on a minute. If I don't tell my story, it'll be like my granddad's, lost to history. So during lockdown, I got into to rekindling an old skill set that I had. So what I've done is I did 24 half-an-hour episodes of my life. So if there's anybody out there that is suffering from insomnia, download a few of my and guaranteed to put you to sleep. Either that or give you nightmares, one of the two.
Well, I mean, the Tim Hill podcast is very similar to what we're trying to do, really. I mean,
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're doing some extraordinary stories, local stories for History Week for our digital content, aren't you?
I am. I've already done a few guys for the Falklands 40.
Yeah.
I spoke to a guy who was on HMS Fearless. I spoken to a guy that was on HMS Glamorgan, and I spoke to the doctor that was on Atlantic Conveyor. And their stories are gripping. They
Definitely.
are, yeah. They come out with some real raw emotions. So, and I've got a few others in the pipeline as well that I'm going to be doing.
I mean, while we're talking about the Falklands, sorry if I put in there. I don't know whether you'll be able to play. I know I'm going to put you in a spot here, but that is my job. The first video we created, the Falklands exhibition. I suppose we can let that go, and I think it's a minute long. I don't know whether you can get it up, but maybe we can give them a little bit of a tease of that, because I've been working with Tim. We've been working with our volunteers. We're working with other people in the community and our stakeholders to develop this exhibition. And obviously, we're working closely with the Portsmouth Naval Base Property Trust, as Tim mentioned earlier. But the four main points of this exhibition is a documentary cut up in different sections of the Falklands conflict, following our timeline via interactive display boards and artifacts. And of course, we want to highlight local stories and whatnot from that period, 1982 to the 2nd of April to the 14th of June. And there's been so many stories, and as Tim said earlier, I couldn't agree more with it, is that quite a lot of it goes lost to history. And last year, James and I, we started a project called the forgot the name of it, but what it's about recording your memories. And at the particular time when we launched this, we went back into lockdown. So our workshop that we were planning to do with a little bit of a setup of recording equipment had to be put on the back burner, and we're trying to work hard to get it ready for History Week either this year or next year. So the Falklands conflict and the exhibition is going to be between the 14th and 19th of June. And that's down pretty hard, but it's a great amount of work that's gone into this. Our head of research, James, he's completed a ton of work along with his team, Caroline, Ellis, and the countless volunteers. I do give my thanks to them because without them, they're the the main cog of the group, which uncovers and really promotes our culture and heritage, which is a fantastic thing, and which is something that I originally started out doing. But being the chairman, you don't really get too much time now to do the things you want to do within the group. But it's hopefully it's gonna get better soon. But if you want to get involved, now there's plenty of ways you want to get involved, and you can email us at getinvolved@mail.com, or you can send us a message via our website. It's an easy to use thing. You just type up our group name, Portsmouth Gosport History, scroll through and go to the contact area. And all you've got to do is put your name and your email address and your message, and Bob's your uncle and Funny's your aunt. It's gone. It gets straight put to us and our teams. And the amazing thing is because of the amount of interest we've received, not locally, just a while back, from these live streams and the projects we're doing. We're in the midst of redeveloping our teams to function better with high demands of projects, more people coming in and giving their expertise. So if certain things on these live streams don't really match up at the moment, that's because we're currently going for a big change, which we're really excited to tell you about very soon. And no doubt you'll see some changes with the imagery of the group and how we portray ourselves to the community. But I will say that our aims that is set out in our constitution will not change, and they won't change anytime soon, because we feel that it's very important that we work closely with younger generations to help them to uncover their past and their futures indeed. And I think I've gnashed on for a bit too long, so I'll pass you back to Tim, who hopefully has that video ready.
No. It's a question. No, I don't know what I've done with it.
What I'll do is I'll email it to you across now quickly, because it's a really, really interesting video for people to watch, I believe. And it just gives you the insight into what we're actually doing for the Falklands exhibition in June. Well, just email it.
If it's in a format I can use.
You'll get it how you get it, I'm afraid. Yeah, well, as I say, it's been a tough time for us recently, with a lot of things happening behind closed doors. Personally, I've been really dug down in History Week prep for the group and things like that. So there we are. I've sent it to you, Tim, and I think the logo's changed at the top corner.
Yeah, I'm just plugging my own channel a bit. I'll do a live stream on a Thursday for anybody that's interested, and we have different subjects. It's not come through yet. There it is. I can't play it. Not without. I can't play it. I need to change it. It won't go into the StreamYard as a movie. And I need to change it to an MP4.
Don't worry about that. I'll play it from my end. I will work around the situation.
See if it'll do from your end, because it won't come into StreamYard. I tried that earlier with the other one.
I will have to. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I'm trying to plug my live stream on a Thursday from 7 until 9, and this particular week I've got an open forum. So if there's anybody out there that would like to join in, it's similar to this. Pop your questions in the chat, If you want to come on as a guest, then ping me a message and I'll ping you the link to come into the studio for the chat. Obviously, remote studio. And there we go. So we talk about all manner of things. I mean, we have talked about history stuff. We've talked about, we've had specials of veterans' mental health. We've had general mental health conversations. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about sailing. We had a whole 2 hours talking generally about boating of one form or another, whether it's motorboats, sailing boats, cruising. We had quite a game. Anyway,
Yeah, I think that's come up. I don't know whether that is it. You might want to.
Should we try and give it a go and see what happens?
Yeah, give it a go. That's it.
There you go. Argentina had invaded and captured the Falkland Islands, a small set of remote islands some 400 miles off the coast of Argentina. The Falkland Islands had been in British hands for nearly 150 years. The shock and anger expressed by the British people were echoed around the globe. World leaders encouraged diplomacy for Britain and Argentina to find a peaceful solution to this situation.
There we are.
Very good.
There we are.
I must say the voice error of that was rather good.
Yes. No,
Sounded like a professional to me.
Yes, I don't know who it was, but maybe it might have something to do with the group and the head of media.
Man of many talents.
Yes. Alana likes it. That's good.
Oh, here we go.
Change the logo back now, Tim.
Hang on.
It's not your Thursday rant now. You know.
You behave yourself. Hang on. There you go. That's how we do it. That's how these live streams go out. It's all powered by that.
Brilliant. So Lana likes it. So I think instead of doing the quite he's a bit leery tonight, isn't he? Right. That is not a way to talk to a chairman of an organisation now, is it? So you're going to not have any of that. Thank you. But so yeah, so
You did, Lana.
So yeah, so
I thought Lana was going to join us this week.
no, she's a little bit busy at the moment. Doing
that old chestnut, that old chestnut. So you're going to join us next week then, Lana? Oh, I don't know.
Anyway.
Gonna come and join us next week. Or you could even come on the Thirsty Thursday open mic. What's that? What's
Henry.
A lot of laughs.
Silly
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So how are we doing?
We're doing perfectly fine. I mean, I was interrupted by I don't know who else, but no, I'm joking. So yes, so the idea
you leave our special guest alone. Our special contributor.
Yeah, special. Anyway, what I was going to say is the documentaries. What we're doing with that, Tim, I think you'll agree with me, is we're doing the in between the in between of each segment of the actual physical exhibition. We put in a TV screen if we can, with that similar type of information that was portrayed on that documentary. Little short ones.
Oh, that's what we're doing, is it? Little short ones.
I believe so.
You're going to have to do some work on that then. Mind you, I ain't got an awful lot of time this week.
No, that's fine. I mean, as long as you can do the voiceovers, and I'm pretty much good at doing the editing, as you can see.
Yeah, well, can you save them in MP4 format?
I can save them whatever you like, Tim.
Can you?
I can indeed.
Yeah, MP4.
Right, okay. Well, we can talk about that. That's not something we talk about on here. But anyway.
There you go. There's a question for you.
Who are you getting on next? Well, that is an excellent
I think
question.
Lana should be on next.
Well, possibly. But the next people I've got in mind for our next interview session, the first hour, and the second hour is obviously usually a presentation of local history, but that crashed. We're hopefully going to get on Jonathan Moore within the next couple of weeks. We're going to get on some special guests, hopefully from a few of our working partnerships for History Week. So you've all got to look out for that very soon. It is very a waiting and see type of live stream. And as I say, it is very in its early stages. We're changing around things. Obviously, last week we didn't have the interviews. It was purely a history chat, wasn't it, Tim?
Yep.
But now we've implemented a interview area for the first part of the session, and we'll see how that goes and progresses. But I think it's great to be able to push other organisations that are doing so much for our history, and hopefully we can support them in the future with their future projects and things.
Well, for those that didn't know, I've got another little video here that I can pop up. What?
Yeah, you love a video.
Yeah, you got to love a video. Right. This, for those that don't know, it was my birthday this week. I was only 64. So what I did was I popped up a little video just to say thanks. So I'm just going to show you that now. Ready?
The Tim Heal Thirsty Thursday live stream from 7 until 9 weekly. Here's your host, Tim Heal.
I'd just like to say a really big thank you to everybody that has wished me happy birthday. And all I would like for my birthday is if people could click the like button on my YouTube channel and my podcasts. And if you want to put a bit of icing on there, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be brilliant. And the cherry on top of the cake, well, if you could just put a comment and then share it, that would be awesome. Thank you very much for my birthday wishes again. Cheers.
The Tim Heal Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
What do you think to that then?
I don't know where to begin, Jim.
Is that a professional piece of work or what?
For your Tim Hill podcast, it's not for the Portsmouth Gosport History Group, it isn't, no.
Well, look, I plugged the main thing, didn't I? Didn't I? Getting people to like and subscribe,
No
to share, to put.
Is there anything else
comment.
changing? Is there anything else changing with the group? Something else we don't know about? Yes, there is. And you won't know until it happens. As I said earlier, we're going through a period of team changes.
A period of flux we are.
Yes, and we're going through an area of changes within the teams to make them stronger to work on multiple projects at the same time. We've got loads of new volunteers coming in to fill gaps and things like that, which is really exciting. And certain areas of images of the group, should I say, are going to be changing very soon to stay up to date with what we're trying to achieve, get a professional look at the group also. But what I will say, and as I said earlier, the aims of the group will not change unless there is a major need for it to do so. Under any circumstances, it won't change. And Lana's put, I should be the group's live stream question expert. Indeed.
Wow.
Indeed.
You are. You are one of our best, if not, you are the best contributor. We have one or two others, but they're nowhere near as good as Lana.
Lana's on a different level.
But what we need is Lana to come on to the show herself.
Give a round of applause for Lana.
Hang on. I can do that. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that a round of applause?
Yeah. It is a round of applause indeed.
There you go, Lana, just for you.
Have you been drinking today, Tim?
Yes. Oh, I'll tell you for what, it's my wedding anniversary today.
Well, happy anniversary to you then.
Yeah, she gave me some champagne earlier to celebrate.
Yeah. No, nothing
Just
else.
as an aperitif before our dinner. But no, I'm on the old Adam's apple.
Mm. Good. Okay.
Adam's
Right.
ale.
So we've got about 12 minutes left, I believe. Am I correct as time?
Yeah, that's how many years I've been married. 12 years.
Oh, well done. Well done.
This time. I was married 23 the last time. And 3 before that.
Well,
God, I could have been out on good behaviour as well, couldn't I?
Anyway. So
what else we got to talk about?
I would like to say
that you let us down badly this evening.
Who?
You didn't come up with a full brief. You just threw people at me and said, get on with it. And then for the second hour, you should have come in with a decent presentation. You came in with nothing. I've had to ad lib.
Listen.
What?
Sometimes things don't always go to plan. People drop out. But I believe the live stream is developing in the way it should be. And hopefully, it's a very political answer, but...
so are you working on guests for next week then?
Yes.
Are we going live next week?
We are.
Go live next week. Let's have a look. We're weekly now, are we? Hang on. Just make sure that I'm not double booked. No. Where are we? We're there. Easter Sunday, you know that, next week?
Yeah, no, we're not doing it next week then.
It'll be the week after.
Yeah. Take a break for a week.
Gonna have to take a break for another week because I'm off to the theatre. A Sunday night theatre. Going to see Blokes of a Feather.
Lovely.
Blokes of a Feather. You could always run a live stream.
Don't know
give
how
you the tools to do it. I can give you the tools to do it.
Definitely then. Well, I don't mind.
Let me work on it.
Let me know. Get it ready for the next one then after Sunday. But yeah, so it's been an interesting, at least to say, interesting version of the live stream today. And I would like to say we have better live streams than today. The first portion of it was fantastic, with the guests coming on talking about their areas of volunteering. and organisation skills and things like that. The second half we will forget about. We had to make do what we had.
I had to make do with what I had. I got no input from your end at all.
All right.
I thought I handled that quite well. What do you think, Lana? Did I handle that the second half quite well? Wait for the comments to come in now.
I can hear her typing.
So, we got some comments. Annie Anderson gave us a like. It's been a crazy ride for sure. Oh, here we go. Here's a good question. What's a favourite place in Gosport? Where do I like? Well, good question, well presented. I like Castle Hill.
Okay.
That's cool, isn't it?
My favourite place, Lana, would be Pretty's Hard. Don't ask me why particularly, but it would be Pretty's Hard because of my time spending quite a lot of time down there with Nan and things like that.
What do you mean, where's that? Do you mean where's Castle Hill? That's my drum. That's me gaff. That's my little... Yeah. That's up Stradbroke. Lovely area, Stradbroke. Lovely area. Nice neighbours. A whole road of bungalows.
Right. Well, now everyone knows where you live. That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Gonna
Anyway, I'm gonna
come and say hello. I'm sure.
No, studio is a nice place, I must admit. And I'm sure Tim would show you behind the scenes. You asked him nicely, where we bring Portsmouth Gosport History live to you.
Can I?
Can you?
I don't know. Give us. We've got a few minutes left. I've got to do a few clicks. I've got to do some clicking to do this. That one, I think. Might be able to show you behind the scenes.
Will you have a hub, Lana says? A hub. Explain a hub. What do you mean by that?
What's an hub? What do you mean by hub? Did I get the right thing here? I might have needed that one. Oh no, it's one of these.
That is a really good idea, Lana. We have thought about it. We are thinking about it. Every single chat we have, it sometimes involves about having a HQ, headquarters for Portsmouth Gosport History. But at the moment, it's unavailable because of funding and things like that. But we are looking into it. We had a big meeting with the Gospel Council last year about that matter. I do believe it's still developing behind closed doors. So again, I will have to say, watch this space, and then let's hope some good news soon about a History Week group hub where we can meet up, hopefully show some of our collections to the public. Have places for our volunteers to come in and work. For me to do some work there, and Tim and James and Liz and all of our officers of the group, and hopefully we have that good news soon.
Just working on it. Is that it? I can't see anything at the moment.
Yes, there is something that we're looking for. That is a song, I think. Something like that. But anyway, we are looking for a multitude of items. One being exhibition boards. And that's a really big one. They're usually quite tall, about shoulder height usually, and usually come in multitude of colours: blue, red, and green. Any colour they do. We're not picky. They'll be used for our upcoming Falklands exhibition and other projects of the group if you donate them or lend them to us. That'd be fantastic. We're looking for a few TVs to either donate or for us to lend throughout that period. Showcase a couple of those videos we showed you earlier. Another thing is artifacts. We're always on the lookout for local artifacts. And personal stories and things like that. So again, if you want to get involved, you can email us at getinvolved@mail.com. If you want to send the group a direct message, you can either email us at Portsmouth Gosport History INQ at mail.com, or you can go to our website and then go to our contact form and send us a message through there, which is the most easiest way to do it. We've got a few stands. We've got tables. We've got exhibition display boards. When I say display boards, I don't mean exhibition boards. I mean special containery things, whatever they're called. I do forget now. So we've got quite a load of things we're after, which we have put out public appeals for. And luckily we've got a couple coming hopefully soon.
Still working on it.
What have we got coming? Well, that's a good thing. We've got one exhibition board and one TV coming soon. What else? I can't say, but I can say we've got a whole collection of Falkland goodies. So that ranges from artifacts from down in the Falklands. We've got Royal Navy equipment. We've got paintings and things for the exhibition. So yeah. But on the TV, on the TV and the other things, it's needed.
Quick
quite
behind the scenes. Dun, dun, dun. There you go. That's what it looks like in the studio. And there's green screens, there's lights, and there's stuff all over the walls, more lights. There's all me stuff. And then we'll come round and there's me with my green screen.
Fantastic.
Hello. How's that?
Good.
Is that what you were looking for? Whoop. Get the right way up and we'll be laughing.
Right.
So,
and that's the end of the live stream, I believe.
Yeah, and that's us there. So, and there's my monitors. So there you have it. That is the live stream. Let's drop that down, drop that one down, drop that one down. And it just left for me to say thank you, everybody. It's been a challenge. If nothing else, this one's been a challenge. So thanks very much for joining in. Thanks, Lana, for giving us some great questions. And we'll see you possibly the week after Easter. And if we can't get that sorted out, it'll be the week after. But don't forget, Thursday, 7 till 9, the Tim Hill live stream. Thanks for being there. Let's just put the end on. Au revoir. Bonne chance.